Hello, today we'll be discussing a critical issue surrounding the Panama Canal. As many of you may know, the Panama Canal is one of the most important shipping routes in the world, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Most recently, there was a problem in the Suez Canal. In March 2021, the container ship Ever Given ran aground and blocked the canal for 6 days. This caused severe disruption to global shipping and trade. And now, the Panama Canal Authority has reported that the canal is currently experiencing its fifth driest year in the last 7 decades. This is a critical issue as the canal relies heavily on water to operate. So, what are the consequences of this drought? I will try to answer this question a little later. But for now, let's familiarize ourselves with general information about the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal, stretching across 51 miles in Panama, is an artificial waterway that connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, effectively dividing North and South America. It ranks among the world's largest and most significant maritime routes, spanning the narrow Isthmus of Panama. It serves as a vital conduit for both international trade and military logistics. Since its inception, the Panama Canal has greatly benefited the global shipping industry. Prior to its construction, ships traveling between the eastern and western coasts of the American continent had to navigate around Cape Horn in South America. This alternative route added an extra 8,000 nautical miles to their journey and took approximately 2 months to complete. In the fiscal year of 2022, there were about 2,300 US-flagged ships that passed through the Panama Canal. This represents about 16 of all ships that transited the canal that year. The majority of U.S.-flagged ships that transit the Panama Canal are container ships, followed by tankers and bulk carriers. In fact, over 40 of all US container traffic travels through the canal every year. The U.S. military relies on the Panama Canal for the rapid deployment of forces and equipment between the Atlantic and Pacific theaters. This strategic flexibility is vital for national defense and ensures the ability to respond quickly to crises or threats in various regions. The design of the Panama Canal was a complex and challenging undertaking. The engineers had to contend with a number of factors, including the steep terrain, the dense rainforest, and the unpredictable weather. They also had to consider the environmental impact of the canal. The engineers ultimately decided to build a system of locks that would raise and lower ships as they passed through the canal. The locks are located at 3 different points along the canal: Gatun locks, Pedro Magul locks, and Miraflores locks. The Gatun locks are the largest of the 3 sets of locks. They are 110 feet high and 1,000 feet long. The Pedro Magul locks are 65 feet high and 1,100 feet long. The Miraflores locks are 62 feet high and 820 feet long. The locks work by raising and lowering ships using water. When a ship enters a lock, the gates are closed behind it. Water is then pumped into the lock, raising the ship to the desired level. When the ship reaches the desired level, the gates are opened and the ship can continue on its way. What about now? The consequences of the Panama Canal drought are far-reaching. First and foremost, it affects the amount of cargo that can be transported through the canal. If water levels continue to drop, ships will have to carry less cargo, which will result in longer transit times and higher transportation costs. This, in turn, could impact global trade and the economy. Additionally, the drought could also lead to increased maintenance costs, as ships will have to travel at slower speeds and may cause more wear and tear on the canal's infrastructure. Finally, the drought could also have environmental consequences, as it could impact local wildlife and ecosystem. Some experts believe the main problem with the Panama Canal drought is the water cycle. Panama's climate is that of a tropical rainforest, meaning rainfall is directly linked to the density of the forest, which generates condensation. Unfortunately, in recent years, governments have allowed deforestation in the areas surrounding the canal, which is a clear violation of the law and the Torrijos-Carter Treaty. The Panama Canal depends on a healthy water cycle because the canal uses water from 2 lakes to operate: Gatun Lake and Miraflores Lake. These lakes are replenished by rainfall and runoff from the surrounding watershed. The Panama Canal uses water from these lakes to operate the locks that raise and lower ships as they pass through the canal. The locks require a significant amount of water, and the canal can only operate if the lakes are at a certain level. If the water cycle is disrupted, the lakes may not be able to replenish their water supply, which could impact the operation of the canal. The Panama Canal is a vital trade route, and the water cycle is essential to its operation. In addition to dealing with water cycles, there are general guidelines for dealing with such an important facility and improving its performance. For example, one option is to invest in more efficient water management systems. This could include improving the canal's drainage systems or investing in new technologies that can help conserve water. Additionally, the Panama Canal Authority could also consider imposing restrictions on the amount of cargo ships can carry to prevent further strain on the water supply. Another potential solution is to invest in renewable energy sources such as solar or wind power, which could help reduce the canal's reliance on fossil fuels and water. Finally, the canal could also explore the possibility of creating new water sources, such as desalination plants or rainwater harvesting systems. Of course, there are also challenges and limitations to these potential solutions. For example, investing in more efficient water management systems or renewable energy sources could be costly. Additionally, imposing cargo restrictions could impact the global economy. There may also be technical challenges associated with creating new water sources, such as the feasibility of desalination plants in the region. It's important to carefully consider these challenges and limitations when exploring potential solutions. In conclusion, the Panama Canal drought problem is a critical issue that could have far-reaching consequences. The potential solutions we've discussed today may not be perfect, but they represent a starting point for addressing this issue. Ultimately, it will take a collaborative effort from the global community to develop and implement effective solutions. We hope that this video has helped shed some light on this important issue. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content. Thank you for watching this video.